What's going on, everybody? It's Dark Retro, and we are playing the original NES version of Final Fantasy, which, this was a huge deal back in the day when it first came out. I remember they had a Nintendo Power that came out with this. Then there was like a bonus guide, like if you subscribed to Nintendo Power, they gave you these details, these clues as to like how to get through the game and whatnot. It was absolutely wild. It was a massive event. There was also a contest that they had in which you and 3 other people could have been selected. They would have flown you out, I forget where it was, and you went on like a mini adventure. And the whole adventure was to find a glass orb that you got to keep. And it was the glass orbs like they have in this game. So it was absolutely phenomenal. Way back in the day, it was just wild. I remember this is, of course, before Square Enix was formed. It was Squaresoft that created this. And then Enix was its own entity. But they both had great IPs. Squaresoft had Final Fantasy, and Enix had Dragon Quest, or Dragon Warrior in the US. So, both amazing IPs, both amazing RPGs. Pretty huge in length, honestly, but well worth it. So, again, we're starting off with the original, and we're in Cornelia or Corneria Castle, depending on what you remember. And I don't know if you guys know about this invisible person here, which I thought was pretty wild. That person never really changes, but is always there. I think even in the remasters, they're there, the pixel remasters and whatnot. In this game, it's Corneria. I believe in the pixel remaster, it's Cornelia. There's a lot of differences between the Pixel Remaster, the PlayStation Remaster, and of course, the NES versions of these games. There are, obviously graphical differences, but then there's also differences in prices on certain items. And then, of course, there's different names, there's different everything. Some of the monsters have been renamed, and some of the weapons have been renamed. Some of the weapons have different point values or different prices. I believe everything is cheaper in the Pixel remasters, or slightly cheaper, slightly discounted. And of course, I like to name the characters after Final Fantasy characters. I always go with the warrior, the monk, the white mage, and the black mage. The warrior, clearly because they're basically the tank. The monk becomes a black belt, like a kung fu master or something, and he does massive damage later on. So he's definitely the damage dealer. And then, of course, I go with the white mage for the healing and for defensive magics, and I go with the black mage for all the attack magics. Now, some people like to go with the red mage. If you like the red mage, there's nothing wrong with that. People will use the red mage basically to kind of engulf both magics, but I'm not a fan of that. I kind of feel like the mage should either fight or use magic. That's either black or white. The red mage obviously uses black magic, white magic, and can also sword fight, which is great for extra damage, but I kind of feel like the black belt and the warrior will have enough damage. They'll do enough, especially with the black magic. They'll just take everything down. And then, of course, as far as healing goes, healing defensive magics are really important, so that's why I always employ the white mage. I have done runs, and maybe I'll post a run in which I actually have a full red mage group, which is pretty wild. The red mages are I mean, you know, they work, but the thing is that you're going to have to rely heavily on items. You know, they'll be obviously attacking, but you're definitely going to need a lot of items if that's what you want to do. So what I'll do is I just showed, like, you know, what it looks like going through and attacking and whatnot. Right now we're ready to go directly to the Temple of Fiends, which is the first dungeon that you're going to come across. And we're going to go up here. Got to go through all this marsh and stuff. And the Temple of Fiends, basically, what they don't explain to you, which will be explained later on, is that it's actually a gateway. It's kind of like a time loop gateway. But, you know, obviously initially we don't know that yet. So we're going to go through. We're going to see what we've got here. We're going to go and get whatever items we can get. Can't get everything that's in here because some of these items are locked behind a mystical key. And we can't get those things, obviously. We will eventually, though. So here we go. We're going to battle through all these other guys. Just because we have to. Because they're in our way. Nothing there. I know nothing's there. That's not what I'm trying to do. Here we go. We're going to go up. We're going to go to this other side. Everything on the left, basically, is all we can open up. We can't really open anything else up. Because the other items, like I said, they're locked behind a massive door that's, you know, locked with the mystical key. We can't get that mystical key until way later in the game. So we're just going to do what we can for now. Which is not a bad thing. There we go, cabins. Now, some of these things, if you are like me, you go and you collect 99 of everything. And that's not a bad thing to do, but it does take up a lot of space, a lot of room. The one thing that just greatly upsets me about these battles is just how slow they run. The wild thing is that with an emulator you could increase the speed of the battles. Yeah, there we go. The door is locked with the mystic key, so we can't get there. And then the lower right hand, I'm going to show you guys there as well. But it is also locked with a mystic key. As I was saying though, if you have an emulator, you're able to increase the speed of everything by, like, you know, the highest levels. Like when I was playing this on an emulator, I was up to like 250 speed, you know, in excess of like what it plays. It is kind of like hard to like select the creature that you want to attack and whatnot, but at the same time, like just moving through the dungeons and everything, getting back and forth between places, it's smooth like butter. You just go. Of course, according to rules of emulation, you really do need to actually have the game. You have to actually physically own it. You know, that's the rules that they go by. That's the only way that you could get an emulator. I wouldn't advise getting any emulation of, like, you know, current gen systems like the PS5, PS4, you know, PS3. I wouldn't advise that. But they do have those emulators out there. So here's our first boss. We're dealing with Garland. The first thing we're going to do is make sure we're healed up. You don't want to fight this guy, you know, in a weakened state. So he has the princess. He, of course, kidnapped the princess. And he's really not that bad of a first boss, honestly. Everybody can attack, and of course the Black Mage will blast him with some fire, and we'll make short work of him. Now, anybody that gets hurt, the White Mage is obviously the healer, so whether you have to use magic or whether you have to use an item for them to drink, you know, those are your two options there. He's going to be doing no damage to our warrior, minimal damage to our black belt, and of course the mages will take the brunt of the damage if they get hurt. But as you saw, it was like really short work. And I mean, you could get this guy as early as level 3 or 4. I like to wait at least until I'm level 5 before I go and I take him out. In some cases, I've played this and gotten to like level 10 just out of boredom, collecting every little thing, so that way I could, you know, just put everything together, get everything assembled, and then after I get everything assembled, after I get everything that I need, that's when I'll go and I'll attack him. You know, like, and usually I'm around level 10. I have 99 of like everything: tents, cabins, potions, antidotes. Not advising you to do that. I'm just saying that you can if you wanted to. It all depends on how much of a rush you are to get through the game. This game I actually enjoyed. This is, as far as old school games go, this game takes about 60 hours, I would say. You could comfortably complete this game within 60 hours. Comfortably. It could take, like, you know, like a little longer depending, or a little less depending on, you know, like how confident you are and how skillful you are there. So just by talking to the princess, we're able to teleport back to the castle, back to the throne room. We're going to talk to the king, which you have to. That way he builds a bridge to the other continent. And then talk to the princess, because she's going to give you a loot, and you definitely need this loot. You need it. It's an instrument. It's going to come in handy way later in the game. And of course, it's not going to take up any inventory. It's not going to like mess with anything. You just definitely want to make sure that you've got it. It's very important that you have it. Everyone, of course, is going to be so thankful that you saved the princess, that you're actively trying to return peace to the entire land. And here we go. We'll leave the castle now. Before you make your journey, definitely go and heal up. That's something else that you want to do. Then you're just going to go north, and there's the bridge now to the continent. And then, of course, this gives you your intro to the game. There's a secret here. If you hit the A button, I believe 44 times, it gives you a 15 square puzzle. And it's just the numbers 1 through 15, and you're able to maneuver them around. If you solve the puzzle, I don't believe anything happens in the NES version, but in the Pixel remaster, I believe you get a certain amount of gil, which is the money that they use in this game. So we'll cross this. We're going to come over this way. Now, before you make your way towards the right, you want to make your way north through this whole forest, and you're going to find a cave. There go the imps. I forget what they're called in the Pixel remaster. They're not called imps. Well, they are called imps, but the I believe the other imps, what they call gray imps in this one, they call something else entirely. It's just really cool how like they have all those like changes. Oh yes, okay, so in this one, yeah, they actually change a lot of the names. So what I just thought was called an imp, in the Pixel remaster they're called goblins. And then the blue versions of them, they're called goblin guards rather than gray imps. And then here we're fighting an ogre and a couple of creeps. And I believe even those names are changed. Nope, the ogre is still the ogre. And what are those creep things called? I can't believe how like they change all the names around. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just kind of funny. I believe it's Gigas Worm. Yep, it's Gigas Worm. They're called creeps here. They're Gigas Worms in the Pixel Remaster. I believe even in the PlayStation Remaster that they did. Which honestly, you know, it's still pretty cool that they changed them around. They kind of felt like the name made no sense, or like maybe the name was a little off-putting or something. Which I could totally see. I could see them, you know, like want to kind of make the name sound a little more pleasing. That's the kind of world we live in today. So there we go. We'll take these guys out. I love fighting those guys because they give us all kinds of money and XP. And I'll show you a couple of zones where you can like continuously fight them. It's great. These brooms you talk to and they give you a magic spell. It says push B select backwards. When you push B and select, you will actually get a map. And that is the only way to get the map on this game. In later versions, they of course added, you know, like little mini maps, which make it a hell of a lot easier to do. But here we are, we're in Matoya's cave. We're going and checking out everything that she's got. And then she is looking for her crystal, which in other games, she's looking for her crystal eye, which makes a little more sense. It could be that they named them these things just because they were so limited, because this is an 8-bit game. And there we go, there is the map. That is the map that you get in this game, in Final Fantasy. For the Nintendo, at least. Which back then, that was a pretty big deal that you could do something like that. Nowadays, if you don't have like a mini-map in the corner, there's something completely wrong with the game. And of course, I named my characters Cloud after the swordsman in Final Fantasy VII, Sabin, who is the actual black belt in Final Fantasy VI. He's one of the twins, and he is a black belt. Rosa, the white mage from Final Fantasy IV, and of course Vivi, who is the black mage in Final Fantasy IX. There is your trivia for the day, just in case anybody is wondering why I named them what I named them. Way back in the day when I was first starting channels and everything, I used to name them after all my channels. I used to name it after Dark Strider, Dark Retro, Dark Mobile, and I can't even, oh, Dark Shadow. I used to name them after everything. It was pretty wild back then. Or I used to put my website name because I used to also have a website. I used to actually own my own shop where I sold video games, old video games. And I did it all online, so there was no overhead. It was called The Vault. And I used to have the link to The Vault in all of my... whenever I played these games. So you would see screenshots of the game, and I would show, like, you know, my website address. May reopen that because that was, like, really good. It was a lot of fun. People really do enjoy retro gaming. Like you would not believe. Take out these imps real quick. Or as quickly as we can. Sabin's looking a little unhealthy. Now we're going to go head east, where we're going to find another town. The town we're looking for is actually going to be One where we're going to find a pirate ship. And we're not going to find the pirate ship just loose or anything like that. We actually have to defeat a bunch of pirates for it. So as we are collecting all kinds of money along the way and experience along the way, we're getting stronger just so that we could go and battle these things out. And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to have enough to get a couple of spells, some better weapons, some better armor, so that way we could take those guys out as well. As you can see, still strong, even though, you know, Sabin's on the ground. The worst things I hate when I'm playing this game is getting poisoned. I absolutely hate poison. And there are so many things that poison you. And it's just so annoying trying to undo that poison. Because you have to do it. If you don't have the spell early on, then you gotta go and you gotta actually get the antidotes. It's a pain. And of course, I don't know why in the NES version the spells have really wild names and you don't know what they're really for. And then, like in the Pixel Remaster, they just went simpler. They're just letting you know exactly what you need and what you have and what the spells do. Again, I believe it is because they didn't have a lot of space on these cartridges. 8-bit game. Really hard to you know, kind of get all that stuff in there. But, you know, people, they enjoyed it. Later on, we have cartridges that, you know, have like double the space for some reason. I don't know, it's kind of wild. So here we're going to buy the hand axe for our warrior. And then, let's see. I believe we are buying the iron hammer for our... oh, we already have it. So we don't need it. Let me see, what else do we need in here? Do we need any other weapons or armor? I'm sure we do. The armor particularly. And then of course the spells as well. Spells we're definitely going to need. As you go along, you're going to find that spells are really, really obviously important. You know, not just for like healing, but for attack, for defense. You're going to have situations where you're definitely going to need certain spells to help you out. So there we go. Here's some extra armor that we've got. Iron, the wooden shield, gloves we could get for, I believe, the mages and for our black belt. We'll take a look at it in a minute. We'll put all our stuff on and then we'll sell off whatever else we have. So there we go. Wooden, the gloves, yep. Gloves on everybody. They've only got cloths. I believe later on, they just make it a lot easier. In later games, they make it a lot easier to like actually get through everything. You actually have certain light gear, leather armor, which makes life a little easy. So for Rosa, we'll get Mute, Alit, and Invis. Lamp basically, you know, is if you're blind. We're not worried about that right now. And let's take a look at what else we've got here. So for Vivi, we will get Ice, possibly Slow, and that Temper. Dark, I don't believe so. Dark basically blinds them, but you don't really need to blind them. So what we'll do is like we'll run out and we'll start getting some money together before we even fight the pirate. So great spot to fight is over on the other side of the mountains towards the east. There's a big open field. You'll find a lot of giants and stuff. You'll also find a lot of asps, which will really poison you. I went behind the scenes and I got all the spells and gear that we need, just so that way, you know, like we're not. This isn't taking like forever, you know. So we're gonna fight Bike, and the first thing we're gonna do is we are going to take out his pirates, because of course they're there to defend him. They're gonna prevent us from getting to him. Best thing to do in this scenario: Cloud and Sabin attack. Rosa can attack until she needs to heal. Lit is what you're going to use with Vivi, because it will do massive damage to these guys. They are basically, they're not lightning resistant, so that's going to do a lot of damage to them. Obviously, if we had Lit 2, we'd be able to get those guys with no issues whatsoever. It would take out the whole row, or the whole lot of them. You'll see that later on. There's a lot of different spells that do massive damage. And of course that will attack all the enemies at the same time. But it's good to have those lower level spells like Lit, Fire, because you may need them. So here we go. Once we defeat the pirates, talk to him again. He says, "You got me, take my ship." If you talk to him again, he basically swears that he turned over a new leaf. Tells you don't have to worry about him. He's gonna, you know, he's gonna work hard in the town. So there's the ship. We're gonna take this ship. We're gonna head towards the left, and we have all new enemies. Sea enemies, which is pretty outrageous, honestly. And of course, lightning works against them as well. It damages them severely. Really good stuff. So there we go. There are obviously certain creatures that you will find in certain areas, and certain creatures that you will find, you know, that are limited to obviously certain elements. Like this obviously is going to have creatures of the water, because you're in the water. When you go into anything that's kind of like the sky, you're fighting sky-like creatures, so forth and so on. Anyway, our goal here is to head to the southwest. What we're going to find there is another town and another kingdom. And it's going to be the land of the elves. Yes, I'm serious about that. It is the land of the elves. So here we go. We're going to park at this dock, and we're going to go here. This is their domain. So what we have here is obviously an inn there. We're going to have more powerful weapons. Here we have the iron nunchucks we're going to give to Sabin. The large knife we're going to give to Vivi. We don't need anything else for Rosa, but we do need that sword for Cloud. And we're going to have to really work at it to get that thing. That thing we want because it is going to be powerful. Powerful. It's going to do some massive damage to enemies. It's going to make fighting a lot easier and a lot quicker. Obviously, but this early on in the game, it's just going to be a no-brainer. It's really, you're gonna advance so quick once you get that thing. Anyway, we'll take a look at what else they've got here. We've got our level 3 magic spells, and what we'll do is get Fire 2, Lit 2, and possibly Lock 2 for Vivi. And those are going to attack multiple enemies when you do that stuff. And then we're going to come over here. Now, here lies Erdrick, 837 to 866 RIP. This is an Easter egg because, of course, Square Enix was giving or Squaresoft was giving a shout out to Enix. So here we're going to get Cure 2, Harm 2, and Anti-Fire for Rosa. Anti-Fire prevent us from getting burned, and you know, the other items really either healing us or doing massive damage to the undead. So here we go. Here's some extra stuff. We do need that copper bracelet will be in place of like the shirts for our mages, and then of course the caps they could use, and the wooden helmet will go to our warrior. And then up here there's also another set of magic areas. So here we'll get Fast, Ice 2, and Sleep 2 for Vivi. And then we have our second set of magic. And this one will get Pure, which is like Antidote, Anti-Mute, and Anti-Ice, which will prevent us from getting cold and prevent other things from happening as well. So what we'll do is we'll go out here and we'll check the castle first. We are in this land. We're trying to help these poor elves. Their prince has fallen asleep under a curse by Astos, the dark elf prince. So we need herbs. Now, Matoya, she's got herbs, but she's not going to give it to us because, of course, she wants her crystal eye. Astos has the crystal eye, and in this spot, if you go towards the right, there is a massive area where there's like a bunch of other creatures, more ogres and stuff that you could defeat. And then once we're done with that and we've collected everything, which is where I'm at now, I just collected everything that we needed, again, behind the scenes, so that you guys don't have to like see me doing all this nonsense, so that this video could be reasonable. And we'll go to our first underground dungeon, which we're going to need to go to. Now, just so that you know, when I say 60 hours of playtime, I mean that literally, even with all the farming that I've done, you can do this all in 60 hours. Now, the other thing that's kind of wild is that 60 hours, that includes your highest level, which I believe the highest level is 50 in this game. I believe you can't get to level 99. I believe that that's as high as you can go. And I always max that out. And from there, it's, again, it's pretty simple. So here we go. We're going to get to where we got to go. I can't believe all the stuns that they're dropping on me. Stunning me left and right. I love these guys because they always give like the most of XP and gold. They're always carrying so much, or gil. So much so that way we could get everything that we need, all our extras and excesses. And this dungeon is going to be down here. We have to go this way. Then we go south, and you'll see this massive hole in the ground. If we could get through all these guys. The real pain is them paralyzing us and whatnot. That is so annoying. Stunning, paralyzation, poison. I'd still rather be stunned than poisoned, not gonna lie. And I'm grateful that there's only like 1 or 2 or 3 of these guys that pop out at any time. So that way we can kind of control them. There we go, we're almost there. There we go, there's that massive hole in the ground. Everything that's happening in this game is because of the elements. You have to restore earth, fire, water, and wind to the world. Otherwise, this is going to be a continuous thing. And that is why the Light Warriors are out here. So, well, we're gonna start in this cave. We're gonna head up first. This marsh cave is actually where we're gonna find a crown. If you go and you visit Astos first, he will tell you that he wants a crown. That he is a king. He's a lone king in. Oh, here we go with the poison. He's a lone king in this one area, and he's the rightful king to obtaining like this crown or whatever. His crown is somewhere in this marsh pit, and we're gonna go and find it. So the other annoying thing about this game was that every time somebody got poisoned, they switched the characters around, so I would have to like switch them around again. The way that this works is that the characters at the top are always going to take more damage than the characters at the bottom, which is why the order is always the warrior, black belt, and then the 2 mages. And I don't know why I went with the white mage first and the black mage second. I don't think they're affected. I think the top characters are always affected, though. When you have the 4 red mages, it really doesn't matter. It's completely wild. So I just wanted to run from them because I'm tired of all the poison thing. Those things will definitely poison you. And here we go with our first round of kind of treasure chests and stuff. Here we go. Take these guys out. The crawls. I know that they didn't name the crawls the crawls. They renamed them as well in the Pixel Remaster. But look at these things, they stun. It's insane. And of course, I don't know why I use my magic sparingly unless it's like the heals or I'm farming. I usually just leave it like that. I usually use my spells sparingly, and then I'll use them if I really have to. I know in later games when you got things like the Ether, when you were able to restore your magic points like with an item just on the fly, then things were different for me. And then, then I would use magic all the time. Even in the Pixel Remaster, I think it's different, the items that you find in the treasure boxes too. You find different gil amounts, you find different items. Some have more useful items, some have less useful items. It all depends. It's a pretty wild system that they kind of altered. And in some cases, you could see why they altered it. They really did want to make things like a lot easier, I believe, in the Pixel remasters. They wanted to make the names sound like a little more like the creature that was drawn out. They made like a lot of different changes. Of course, in this game, they couldn't show the galleries, which in the Pixel remaster they actually had the galleries, which it's kind of cool because you could really appreciate the concept art as opposed to what they actually went with. Because the concept art was pretty cool, but then, you know, like seeing it go from concept to like digitally what they did was pretty wild. So here we go, we're still in the northern part. And we're gonna take out the rest of this stuff. These things I hate, can't stand them. I forget what they're called later on. But here we go, we're poisoned again. We're gonna have to use an item or a magic to, there we go, we'll use pure. There we go. How many people have bought like 99 of every item and like never used any of the items? That was like a debate that I had with a good friend of mine, another content creator, and we were discussing that. We were discussing how funny it was back in the day when we're playing these games and we just didn't use any of the items that we got. You would get 99 of everything and you could not use not one item. Not one. You had to save it all. You get to the last boss fight and you didn't use a darn thing. I always thought that was funny. And I always thought that I was the only one that did that, but there are several people that do that. There are several people that bought 99 of everything. When I got to Final Fantasy VII, I bought 99 of every single item. Bangles, weapons, like, you know, garbage swords that we didn't need. I used to do that all the time. I don't even know why I did that. I just found it to be so funny. I was also the person who would always like go into the last boss fight with the maximum amount of items, with the maximum amount of health and the maximum level. I would go and fight Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII, and I would have level 99 on everybody, even characters I didn't use. I don't know why I did that. That was always my thing, though. It was just some goofy thing I used to do all the time. And I would do that for everything. There's actually a game called Fantasy Star that I had for the Sega Genesis. It was Fantasy Star 4. And when you went to level 99, like if you went to a certain level, certain characters were super strong. And then when you went past that level, when you started going to level 99, like the characters started getting weaker, and I was like, what the hell is going on? It was like the strangest concept, the strangest thing ever to me. So here we are, we're going back towards the start, and at this point you could actually leave this cave and come back in afterwards, you know, like go ahead, get yourself healed up because there was a lot of exploration going on, and then come back in if you wanted to. Which is pretty much, you know, like my rule of thumb. I'll explore an area, I don't want to get too weak, and then I'll go and I'll come back with reinforcements with the extra stuff. Which would have been a good time to actually get a whole bunch of other extra gear. Strangest things that I do in this game. So now we're actually going to get to like the root of the whole thing. Now going into the south, that's where all the real enemies are that you have to find and you have to defeat. So here we go. We're going to go down this little path here. And then we'll have a couple of extra little areas that we could explore here. Gargoyles. Can't stand these things. We'll take them out. I don't know how many other people also, like, really went and saved every item in the game. I knew people that would save everything. They would get through the game and they would just have every single item. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. That treasure box was empty. That was crap. Alright, we have a whole bunch of guys we gotta take out here. They just seem like fun. And the warrior is stunned already. Which is not gonna be cool. And we'll take them all out as best we can. And move it along. These guys, such pains. Such pains. Pains, I tell you. There we go. We're almost through this. Last guy. Gonna need to heal again. Again, I tell you. Sabin and Vivi. Two guys that take the most damage. I don't even know why Vivi takes so much damage. Sabin I know, because Sabin's always like there. He's always getting beat down, but you can't go far in this area without getting a bunch of these things on top of you, without having all of these guys attacking you. There we go. At least we're getting a little stronger. We're getting a little better. And we'll go through this door. And that treasure box is empty. That was not worth it. Not cool, man. Not cool. Alright, now in this area, we're going to have to go through those doors. And then walk through that small path, and then there'll be another set of doors that we have to go through. And that's going to lead us deeper into this dungeon. So here we go, we'll take these guys out. And as we get to like the lower levels of the dungeon, it gets absolutely crazy. The creatures obviously get tougher. And then there's kind of like a mini boss fight that we have to do. So here we go. We're going to go through here. We're going to go down these steps again. Those bats never bother you, by the way. And now we're in this whole section where there's going to be a whole bunch of things that like we could collect. There's some more iron armor. We'll get out of here. Now, don't go and explore every one of these like little cells. There's not stuff in every single one of them. There's stuff in some of them. I mean, if you're feeling exploratory, go ahead, but you're really not going to find a lot of stuff in a lot of these things there. So here we go. We're going to keep moving. We're going to get to like the next area that will be pretty much open that we could actually get something out of. Gargoyles. These things were like bosses. I remember when I first got to these things, like I was like scared. I didn't know what they would do. This is way before I had my strategy guide for this game. That came in my Nintendo Power. I'll tell you, back in the day, Nintendo Power was a lifesaver. It really was. And it had like a lot of like really wild things, wild tips and everything to like really help you out. The whole thing though was that there was like a complete dark side to Nintendo. They did certain things that kind of gave them the edge when it came to gaming, and it was kind of like unfair. Like you would have to sign a contract with them, kind of produce games only for them, and you were granted access to their special kind of cartridge where they gave you a special chip that you could use for the cartridge in order to have it run on their system. And then Tengen, of course, they found a way around that and produced, you know, quote-unquote bootleg versions of the cartridges, and Nintendo was not too happy. So maybe I'll do a video on that at some point so that you guys know the history. But here we go, getting through this thing. I think we're only going to have enough time to kind of get through this level, and then we'll go and we'll battle it out with all the other characters, like later on, like finding Astos and you know, getting the key, getting the herb, saving the elves, and then unlocking every single door we were unable to unlock prior. That's going to be another thing, because we walked through a whole bunch of areas that seriously needed unlocking. And some of those areas have like really good stuff, some of them really don't. But I'm going to show you so that way you could figure out whether you want to do it or not. And I believe in like Pixel Remaster, like if you get it off Steam, you actually get trophies for doing certain things. So one of the trophies is collecting 100% of the treasure chests. And that may be something that you're interested in. If that's something that you're interested in, then definitely I'm going to show you where all those treasure chests are. So that way you could, you know, pick and choose whether or not you want to get them, or you could go for the trophy. Go for the achievement. These boxes are now empty. We'll keep it moving. Copper bracelet. It's going to be good for sale if you already have them for your wizards and stuff. Take this muck out. Way at the bottom is going to be like a set of doors, and you're not going to be able to open up the far bottom set of doors. This row, I believe, is the last row that you can actually open up and get into. I'm just going to run from these guys so that way I'm not wasting my time or my energy. Now, this is the room that we had to get into. where we are going to battle a bunch of wizards, which are flares later on in like the Pixel remaster and stuff. They call them flares because that's what they really look like. They don't really look like wizards. They look like Cthulhu and stuff like that. There we go. So now what we want to do is we want to take them out. Same kind of attack like we had, but have your black mage hit them with lightning, and look at how easy that was. There we go. Terminated. 1, 2, 3. So now we'll have the crown, and we're able to bring that back to Astos. But we'll do that in like the next video. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Enjoy the rest of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. It helps this channel out an awful lot. Please also make sure you subscribe to the main channel, Dark Strider, for more current video games, like from the generation of PS5, PS4, and of course, current PC games. Anyway, again, I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, take care, be good, stay safe, take care of each other. I'll see you all in the next one.